rapper number 2 is arrested for murder, but it's dismissed as self-defense. And the real criminal here is rapper number 1, who ordered the violent act that got his man killed. I had the phone records and 2 witnesses prepared to testify for what would have been a rock-solid RICO murder case.
Now it's official. The streets are dead. The man who brought us Thug Motivation 101, Trap or Die, one of hip-hop's most infamous beefs between him and Gucci Mane. The man who was supposed to be the last of a dying breed. That's right, Young Jeezy has been outed as a snitch. And this time, this ain't just his enemies trying to throw dirt on his name. This actually came from the FBI. We all know Jeezy for his trap lyrics, his ties to BMF, and like I said earlier, the beef between him and Gucci Mane. If you guys don't remember, Young Jeezy allegedly put a hit out on Gucci Mane with his close friend and gang affiliate Pooky Loc trying to collect that bounty on Gucci Mane's head. We all know how that didn't work out, and Gucci Mane would end up killing Pooky Loc and getting arrested for it. Gucci would end up beating that case because of self-defense. But because of that, it put the FBI spotlight on Jeezy for being responsible for the murder. If you guys don't remember, let me catch you up.
With Gucci Mane and Jeezy leading the way in Atlanta rap, it was only inevitable that a collab would come soon. In 2005, Gucci Mane and Jeezy would record 2 songs together. The first song was Black Tees, which was a response to Dem Franchise Boys' hit song White Tee, and the second song was So Icy, or just Icy. So Icy would go crazy in the streets almost immediately, and would then be featured as the main single on Trap House 1. The song was such a massive hit that even high schools across the country banned the iconic snowman tee that Jeezy wore in the video. But as time went on, rumors surfaced that Jeezy may have been upset with how things went. Although it's still not 100% clear why Jeezy was upset, we can assume it has something to do with the fact that he wanted the song to be on his upcoming album. He quickly took to the studio to release a diss track titled Stay Strapped, where at the end of the song he would put a $10,000 bounty on Gucci's So Icy chain.
Real talk, I got a bounty on that shit, 10 stacks, man, you know Jeezy pay.
Jeezy would start to distance himself from Gucci and cause some strain on their friendship. Gucci would also get upset at the fact they could never perform their song live, which he felt they were missing out on a huge part of promotion. Because once again, this is in the days where live shows made a huge impact on getting your music heard. But Jeezy didn't stop and he continued the beef. Over the coming weeks, the petty beef would turn into something much more. One summer evening, Gucci would go home with a stripper after a party, just a month after the So Icy hit dropped. 5 men stormed the home where Gucci was staying, armed with pistols, brass knuckles, and duct tape. They would get into a physical altercation, pistol whipping the stripper and hitting Gucci in the face. One of the men allegedly yelled, "Shoot him." Upon realizing his life was at risk, Gucci shot back. Some people say he reached for his gun, where other stories say he may have disarmed one of the men and took his. He shot the gun, killing one of the men as the others ran off. 3 days would go by until someone found the body of the deceased man in the woods behind an elementary school. When the smoke cleared, authorities identified the man as Pooky Loc, one of Jeezy's prodigies under his CTE label. After 9 days, Gucci Mane would turn himself in, claiming self-defense. He released a statement saying he's not a murderer, but he was scared for his life, and he had to be a man about it.
Now this ain't 2025 Jeezy. This is 2005 Jeezy. 20 years ago Jeezy, before real estate Jeezy, before the cleaned up image Jeezy. This is 2005. I'm still the biggest trapper with ties to the Black Mafia family Jeezy. Gucci Mane has always said that he thought Jeezy was the one responsible for the attack on his life, but Jeezy always denied it. But also in 2005, that's when Big Meech, Little Meech's dad, but anyway, everyone with ties to BMF went to prison, except for Jeezy, who never did a day in the county jail. Even Blue Da Vinci did an interview explaining why he thought Young Jeezy was snitching as well.
In the grocery store, the line like, "Ooh, old white lady, do you know that Gunna told you was a bitch?" Like all that shit, bitch ass shit. I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm cut from the cloth that you got your information on whoever is the rat. And you got it in black and white and you understand what went on with such case or whatever, you feel me? So, you know, when it come down to me, it's just different.
Was Jeezy in the paperwork?
Hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's public information. You can look up right now on your phone. Man testifies about Jeezy's cocaine selling. Type in your phone something like that. You're going to see one of the who name it Lights. Ralph Sims, the same that told about the limo that tried to say I told. Ralph Sims, Ralphie. Told on Jeezy, told everything Jeezy ever did. Jeezy had like 12, Jeezy had more statements on him than me. What you talking about? But no, he didn't get indicted because he did some more other shit. I feel like that. I know some things he did, like he turned Meech's cars into the feds. That same Porsche truck and that Ferrari I was talking about a while before he came to Miami and doing some lie detector tests about this gun case he caught one year in 06 when I went to go meet him, we had a shootout, not against him, but some other, like when me and him start trying to talk, some other popped it off with us and we end up having a shootout. And he ended up going to jail for a gun. If anybody is familiar with that Miami case, him and Twin came back to do a polygraph test that's supposed to be for that shit. And the security said that the meat cars pulled up on flatbeds, nigga, into the federal building when he went and did it, when he was inside for his meeting or whatever. So I know he turned in the cars. Ain't no telling what people be doing, bro. That's all I know he did. And then he told about the gun case that was already thrown out at the state level, and then the feds picked it back up. So everybody look up Big House. You look up Big House. He was a security for Jay-Z. He was a security for Big Meech. He was also security for Young Jeezy. Yeah, Jeezy put the people on his ass, and he'll let you know. If you look him up, he talking his story, and you got all these people with these accounts of these people that's out here. Sorry, y'all, I just be the bearer of bad news because 10 years go by and people act like they ain't never heard nothing, don't know nothing. Like, hold on, the selective politics shit gotta stop.
Now, turning in cars on behalf of BMF to the FBI, I don't know about that one. If Young Jeezy's doing that and communicating with the FBI while everybody else is getting indicted, and everybody just sees you pulling up to the FBI's impound lot with Big Meech's cars, it doesn't look good. But it's not concrete proof. But one thing I did heard Blue Da Vinci say is, you can just Google it and it'll pop right up. So I did. And nothing came up about Young Jeezy testifying. But something did interesting come up in its place. Testimony offered in the federal government's cocaine conspiracy case against alleged Black Mafia family member Fleming III Daniels revealed a stunning allegation. According to a witness, Atlanta hip-hop superstar J. Young Jeezy Jenkins received kilos of cocaine from BMF. Now, what I find odd about that is everyone is going to jail on a cocaine conspiracy case with the FBI. Blue Da Vinci got 5 to 7 years, I think, just for making a couple drop-offs. And like I said, Jeezy never did 1 day in the county. And it's on record that somebody testified that he received kilos of cocaine. I find that a little odd. The only thing that I can think of is that maybe Jeezy was a confidential informant. The FBI doesn't have to disclose a confidential informant's name in the paperwork, and the only time they can force a confidential informant to come out is if they went to trial. But everyone in BMF took plea deals. Blue Da Vinci also has another reason why he thinks Young Jeezy is snitching. I thought it was an interesting take or opinion from Blue, because Blue Da Vinci had a song with Young Jeezy that got pulled because Young Jeezy didn't clear it.
And I pushed the record out. It was on Koch. It was getting promoted and all the shit. It was getting promoted correctly. All the numbers was right. I was like 300 and some spins a week on my BDS at the time. And I got a call from my team. It was like, bro, they talking about, it was like a Tuesday. I think it was a Tuesday, if I am mistaken. I was on the road on my tour bus, and I got a call from my team, and they said that on Thursday, in 2 days, they gonna pull the record from radio if they don't get Jeezy and CTE signature. They wasn't signed off for the record. So I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, hold on, bro. Let me call this and blah, blah, blah. So I called it. And this wasn't the first time I called them about that. It was already mentioned before they dropped the shit. So they dropped it, and we still didn't have the signatures. And I think it was dropped on good faith that we was going to get the signatures from Alan Grunblatt at Koch. They got the shit. They worked it out with Clear Channel or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? So the record could stay up there, and they was telling them they going to have the paperwork or however it went. But them motherfuckers, I called Jeezy. He swear up and down to God in heaven. He signed off and all this shit. But I had my signature, then my signature for BMF Entertainment as the owner. Then we had Alan Nim's signature from Koch. Then we had John Jackson, which is Fabulous name as an individual, Fabulous, the artist. Then we had Skane and Clue for Desert Storm was signed off. I had those signatures. I saw them with my eyes. Then I think I had, at this time, was Jay Brown's signature from Def Jam. He was the vice president of Def Jam at that time. I believe his signature was on my record for Def Jam.
Now, I don't know about this one either, because if everybody's getting indicted for cocaine conspiracy and somebody just said, yo, I was getting lots of kilos of cocaine from you guys, I don't think me clearing a song with one of the members of that gang is something I'd want to get right behind at that moment. That's just haunting the feds. And also something that nobody took into consideration is, what if Jeezy just never wanted to drop song. Blue Da Vinci went around Young Jeezy and had everybody else's signature on the song and got it approved to get on the radio. He released the song without Young Jeezy's signature and then said, I think Jeezy's working with the FBI because he didn't clear the record? I don't know. It's kind of reaching. But then Blue Da Vinci would go on to further say that he pulled up on Jeezy to talk about it. But instead of getting to the bottom of the situation, a shootout ensued and actually Jeezy got arrested for a gun case.
The next day I talked to him like, bro, where you at? I'm just finna pull up. I left my tour route and drove the bus all the way to Miami to go have a conversation with Jeezy about the record being signed off. And that's when that shootout happened that I was just talking about previously. I went to talk to him about that record. That's what the conversation was about. I was coming to meet him and confront him about the shit with all the this shit with me. And as soon as we start talking, Tula was walking down the street with dreads and they're like, oh shit, there go Jeezy, dog. And they're like, oh, and Blue, that's Jeezy and Blue, nigga, that's BMF right there, nigga. Oh, bro, let us get a picture. And then my little cousin twin, big twin, he like, oh, nigga, they ain't taking no picture. You see they trying to talk. So the little like, well, and then the twin fired him. Boom. And that's what started that shit that ended up to the shootout. And me and him never talked about the record right there because that fight turned into a shootout, turned into we all ran, turned into Jeezy got locked up for the gun. And then later on, Jeezy went back to have a polygraph test about that situation. That was all about that day I went to meet him to talk about why he ain't signed off on my record with me, him, and Jeezy, and they pulled it from the radio. And I believe he couldn't because the feds had jacked him and told him, nigga, if you help these niggas, and the same reason why he couldn't do the deal with us. Same reason why he couldn't put his name on the contract, because the contract ensues help to BMF, and they struck his ass down and told him they were going to put your ass in prison if you continue to help Big Meech and Blue in that BMF shit. You're going to fully pull away from that shit. Like, there ain't nobody else stopped quitting the mob. He the only in history that just stopped claiming the mob.
Now, this is crazy to me because so far all of this is speculative. There is no paperwork with Jay Jenkins' name in it. Maybe if we could see some paperwork that says CI number 1 or something to that effect. But because he didn't clear a song and then went to jail fighting a case, doesn't really put the nail in the coffin for me. But a former FBI agent who was working on a RICO case against Young Jeezy would speak out. What we didn't know is back in 2005, there was going to be a murder conspiracy RICO charge against Young Jeezy as being the head of the organization. Kind of like the Young Thug and YFN Lucci situation. But for some reason, the case never happened.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the guy's name because he's pretty famous, and to be fair, he was never charged with a crime. But we had these two rappers in Atlanta in the early 2000s, and they were beefing with each other, trading diss tracks, the whole thing. Then rapper number 1, the famous one, orders his goons to go beat up rapper number 2 and steal this gaudy gold and diamond necklace he wore in all of his videos, and that's where it got interesting. The goon squad shows up at rapper number 2's place. He pulls a gun and starts shooting. One of the attackers gets hit, makes it about 200 yards away from the house before he drops dead. Rapper number 2 is arrested for murder, but is dismissed as self-defense. And the real criminal here is rapper number 1, who ordered the violent act that got his man killed. I had the phone records and 2 witnesses prepared to testify for what would have been a rock-solid RICO murder case. But for reasons that were never explained to me, the U.S. Attorney's Office declined prosecution, and rapper number 1 went on to have a phenomenally successful career. Oh well, win some, lose some.
And the first comment says, Jeezy and Gucci Mane? And he doesn't deny it. Someone else would comment, which was pretty much my original CI theory. The comment pretty much saying Jeezy cooperated with the feds on Meech, so when this happened, he got a pass. And the FBI agent saying, interesting theory. Now, like I said, there's no paperwork with Jeezy's name on it. There's no video with Jeezy getting on the stand. That was the measurement how we used to define on who was a snitch and who was not. But I also believe in common sense. If my whole gang got indicted, except one person, and he's seen giving back all our vehicles to the FBI, he's also not clearing songs, and he was just moving kilos of cocaine with us, it does look fishy. Now, do I think Jeezy told? It's not like Atlanta has been nicknamed Ratlanta recently, so unfortunately, I'd have to say, he most likely did. But can we call him a snitch without some black and white? Absolutely not. But let me know in the comments. Do you think Jeezy is a snitch? Or like me, without any documentation or paperwork, we can't call him that. And if you made it this far, click the left side of your screen to see why Charleston's white rant and Cardi B might actually be truthful. And also, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share to be aware, put me in that algorithm so I need to be there, man. Because I know there's 10 other streamers out there doing it like me, but fuck that little 10. I'm maxed out.